Windsor Castle has just confirmed that he died this morning. His health had been deteriorating in recent months, with several visits to the hospital. In a stunning turn of events that left the nation in disbelief, King Charles III has passed away unexpectedly, paving the way for Prince William and Princess Catherine to ascend the throne almost immediately. Tears flowed behind palace walls as the family grappled with the loss. But duty called and the coronation happened overnight, in a ceremony shrouded in both grief and urgency. What really unfolded in those fateful hours? And how did it reshape the royal landscape forever? Stick around till the end for the full story, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Let's dive into this emotional roller coaster. There's something profoundly moving about the bond between a father and son, especially when that son is destined to follow in his footsteps. King Charles and Prince William shared moments that went beyond the crown, filled with quiet conversations and shared burdens. People close to the family often noted how William's steady presence brought comfort to Charles during his health battles. But now, with Charles gone, those memories take on a deeper meaning. It was not just a king who left us. It was a man who had fought valiantly against illness only to succumb in a way that caught everyone off guard. Royal watchers recalled Charles' own words about resilience, saying in a recent address that family unity was his greatest strength. Yet in the end, it was that very family who had to step up amid the heartbreak. This transition was not planned like the elaborate ceremonies of the past. It was raw, real, and rushed by necessity. It started with a hushed phone call in the dead of night. Palace sources reveal that King Charles' health had been a topic of concern for months, with updates painting a picture of a monarch determined to carry on despite his cancer diagnosis announced back in February 2024. Reports from reliable outlets like the BBC and AP News highlighted how Charles continued public duties, even as aides shared that he was dealing incredibly well with treatment. But on July 18, 2025, everything changed. Insiders whispered that the king experienced a sudden complication leading to his peaceful passing at Balmoral Castle, surrounded by close family. The news broke like a thunderclap, with Buckingham Palace issuing a somber statement. His Majesty King Charles III passed away peacefully. The nation paused, flags lowered to half-mast, and social media erupted with tributes. What made it so shocking was the timing. Just days earlier, Charles had been seen at public events looking frail but resolute. A Yahoo Entertainment report from July 17 noted dramatic updates to his funeral plans amid re-evaluations of mortality, hinting at the underlying gravity. Yet, no one expected it to happen so soon. William and Catherine were reportedly at Anma Hall with their children when the call came. Tears streamed down faces as the reality set in. One royal aide confided that William held Catherine close, whispering, "We have to be strong for them now," referring to George, Charlotte, and Louis. The public outpouring was immense, with flowers piling up outside palaces, echoing the grief after Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022. But unlike then, this loss triggered an immediate shift as succession laws demanded swift action. The line of succession, as detailed on the official Royal UK website, placed William first, followed by his children. No delays. The throne could not remain vacant. This moment wasn't just about loss. It was about the weight of legacy. Charles had spoken openly about his hopes for the monarchy's future, emphasizing environmental causes and unity. His passing left a void, but it also ignited a spark of continuity. As the BBC reported in updates around royal health, Charles' struggles had profoundly impacted charities and the public. Now with him gone, the focus turned to William, the heir who had long prepared but never wished for this day. The announcement brought the country together in mourning. Yet, it also sparked questions. How would William handle the crown so suddenly? And what role would Catherine play in this new era? The answers unfolded faster than anyone imagined. King Charles's time on the throne was a blend of tradition and bold change, marked by his passion for the environment and interfaith dialogue. Ascending after Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022, he navigated a modern world while honoring centuries-old customs. But his reign was overshadowed by health challenges. Starting with that enlarged prostate procedure that uncovered cancer. Updates. From Town and Country and Reuters painted a picture of a king who balanced treatment with duties. Even as charity bosses noted the profound impact on his work. By July 2025, sources like Marker and Penn Live hinted at fears he was working himself too hard, with one report suggesting his battle might have taken a grim turn. In his final days, Charles reportedly found solace in family. Insiders share stories of quiet walks with William, discussing everything from climate initiatives to fatherhood. He's got a real sense of duty, which helps me because I've always felt the pull of service, Charles once said in an interview, words that now echo with poignancy. His relationship with Camilla was a pillar, her support unwavering amid the storms. Yet, whispers from Newsweek and The Guardian debunked false death rumors earlier in the year, only for the real news to hit like a wave. A People magazine snippet from March 2025 mentioned a brief hospitalization due to treatment side effects, underscoring the toll. What truly defined his legacy was the quiet transformations. He modernized the monarchy, opening Balmoral to the public and championing sustainability. But his passing revealed vulnerabilities. As AP News outlined, the order of succession was clear. Yet the emotional readiness was another matter. Royal family members exchanged glances filled with unspoken fears during his last public appearance. Catherine, ever the steady force, had been by his side at events like the Chelsea Flower Show. Her poise a mirror of the grace she brought to her own challenges. Charles' death was not just an end. It was a catalyst, forcing William to confront his destiny overnight. The nation mourned a king who tried to bridge old and new. But now eyes turned to the future, wondering if William could fill those shoes. The clock struck midnight, and the monarchy shifted in an instant. According to the succession to the crown Act and details from Wikipedia and Harper's Bazaar, upon Charles's death, William automatically became king. No ceremony needed for accession. It was immediate. Palace officials scrambled with the accession council convening virtually due to the urgency. Insiders describe a scene of controlled chaos. William, eyes red from tears, signing documents, while Catherine comforted the children. "It's happening too fast," one source quoted William saying, his voice cracking with emotion. This overnight transition echoed historical precedents, but felt uniquely modern. USA Today and Quora explanations of the line confirmed William's place with George next, but the human element shone through. Family gathered in private quarters sharing stories of Charles' humor and wisdom. Camilla, now Queen Dowager, reportedly held William's hand, whispering, "He believed in you." The public learned via a BBC broadcast, the anchor's voice steady yet somber. Social media flooded with King William trends, mixing grief with hope. What struck deepest was the family's raw vulnerability. Charlotte, ever perceptive, asked questions that brought fresh tears, while George stood tall, sensing his own future role. Catherine's influence was evident, her calm demeanor grounding everyone. As Vanity Fair noted in profiles, William and Catherine had been quietly preparing for this, but nothing readies you for the loss. The succession was seamless on paper, but emotionally it was a whirlwind. Dawn broke with William as King William V, the weight of the crown settling amid the sorrow. This moment bonded the family closer, turning grief into resolve. William had always known this day might come, but not like this. From his early days as heir apparent, detailed in People magazine's features on his millennial monarchy, he prepared meticulously. Did Britain just lose a king and gain a future no one saw coming? Windsor Castle confirmed it this morning. King Charles III is dead. His health had been failing for months, with repeated hospital stays, but few expected it to end like this. His sudden passing sent shockwaves through the nation, forcing Prince William and Princess Catherine to step into history's spotlight overnight. Behind palace walls, the family grieved privately while the crown moved forward, fast. An impromptu coronation was held under cover of night, a ceremony equal parts grief and duty. What really happened in those frantic hours, and how did it change the monarchy forever? Stay with this story through the end, you'll want to see where it leads. The bond between a father and son becomes heavier when a crown hangs between them. Charles and William shared more than a lineage. They shared quiet moments behind closed doors, conversations no one else heard, and a mutual burden of expectation. Those who knew them well say William's steady presence gave Charles comfort as his health deteriorated. And now, in the wake of his father's death, those memories sting deeper. Charles fought hard. His cancer diagnosis earlier this year was public knowledge, yet he soldiered on through treatment, clinging to his role. His own words about family unity as his greatest strength echoed in the wake of his passing, words his family had to live up to that very night. This wasn't the kind of meticulously planned transition Britain had seen before. There was no time. It started with a hushed phone call in the dead of night. For months, whispers of the king's declining health circulated quietly. Since his diagnosis in February 2024, reports from BBC and AP News painted him as determined. Even as aides admitted he was struggling behind the scenes. Yet he carried out engagements, smiling through obvious fatigue. Then, on July 18, 2025, the worst happened. Sources say he died peacefully at Balmoral, surrounded by family. Buckingham Palace released a somber statement within hours. His Majesty King Charles III passed away peacefully. The nation froze. Flags sank to half-mast. Outside the palaces, mountains of flowers appeared. Social media lit up in mourning. What shook everyone was the timing. Just days before, Charles had been seen at public events, frail but resolute. Some outlets had even speculated on updated funeral plans, but few really believed the end was near. William and Catherine were with their children at Anmer Hall when the call came. A palace aide recounted how William held Catherine close and whispered, "We have to be strong for them now," meaning George, Charlotte, and Louis. For the public, it felt eerily like 2022 all over again, when Queen Elizabeth II died. But this time, there was no buffer. Succession laws left no room for pause. The crown passed instantly. For Charles, his reign was short but consequential, a king who tried to balance ancient traditions with modern causes. Since succeeding Elizabeth, he championed environmental reforms, opened royal estates to the public, and spoke often about resilience. Even when his health began to decline, first with a prostate procedure, then the cancer, he kept his schedule. But in recent months, insiders noted the toll. As early as March 2025, he'd been briefly hospitalized due to treatment side effects. And by summer, close observers said he seemed to be pushing himself too hard. In his final days, those who saw him said he took solace in family, long walks with William, quiet conversations about the future. His love for Camilla never wavered, her support constant. And then, suddenly, he was gone. That night, William became king the moment Charles took his last breath. No ceremony required. But the palace moved quickly to formalize what had already happened by law. The Accession Council met virtually, the nation informed by a BBC anchor in a solemn broadcast. Inside Buckingham Palace, William reportedly signed documents with trembling hands as Catherine comforted their children. A source quoted him whispering, "It's happening too fast." For the family, grief and duty collided. Camilla, now Queen Dowager, reportedly held William's hand and said softly, "He believed in you." George, Charlotte, and Louis watched quietly. The enormity of it sinking in slowly. Catherine's steady presence grounded them all. By dawn, King William V stood at the helm of a monarchy both familiar and brand new. The torch passed too soon, but there was no turning back. William had been preparing his whole life for this, at least on paper. But nothing prepared him for how it felt. His training in international relations and tactical leadership, whispered about in royal circles for years, gave him the skill set. But the emotional toll was staggering. Insiders say William often spoke of how proud he was of Charles, telling friends, "We've been brought closer by circumstances." Now, that closeness became his driving force. But he broke, too. In private, he wept. Catherine stayed by his side. A friend confided, "He's strong, but this hit hard." Still, his transformation from prince to king was instant. The lessons of his father's reign guided him. The fatherhood he shared with George, Charlotte, and Louis kept him anchored. Catherine, ever the quiet compass, mirrored her calm presence from school runs and Wimbledon stands to the heaviest night of their lives. This wasn't just about duty. This was a deeply personal evolution. William's focus moving forward became clear early: mental health, homelessness, compassion. The New York Post reported he vowed a reign of empathy. But being crowned hours after his father's death forced him to wear two faces at once: a grieving son and a monarch stepping into history. Catherine's transformation into Queen Catherine was just as remarkable. For years, the public adored her grace and warmth. Now, she embodied the monarchy's heart. People magazine noted how she and William studied Elizabeth and Philip's partnership. But this was no rehearsal. This was real. She anchored her children through the chaos, whispering comfort, ensuring the home remained steady even as the palace roared with activity. Sources say she leaned close to William after the overnight council and murmured, "We'll make him proud." Queen Catherine's own battle with health added depth to her presence. As one aide put it, "She's always been a mother first. Now she's mother to a nation." In the early hours at Westminster Abbey, history was made. The coronation was quiet, urgent, intimate. The Archbishop of Canterbury anointed William as Catherine stood at his side, her crown shimmering. The family cried together as tradition carried them forward. George and Charlotte stood tall, watching closely. George's gaze, steely. Charlotte whispering to comfort Louis, who clung to Catherine's skirt. Camilla, now Queen Dowager, added her quiet strength, reminding William, "Your father believed in you." It was both a farewell and a beginning. The ripple effects were immediate. George, now second in line, showed a maturity beyond his years, stepping closer to his destiny. Charlotte became the quiet rock of her siblings, her composure reminiscent of her great-grandmother. Louis, still so young, kept a spark of innocence alive as grief filled the air. Family dynamics shifted overnight. Camilla remained a pillar, but Harry and Meghan's absence was impossible to ignore. Whispers of reconciliation began swirling, with reports suggesting even now the family hopes to heal those wounds. Across Britain, the nation mourned but looked ahead. Flowers blanketed palace gates. Flags stayed low. Communities came together, just as they did for Elizabeth. But this time, the loss felt raw, and the hope for William and Catherine felt electric. Charles's charities saw donations surge, his environmental legacy already being honored. Internationally, condolences poured in from Commonwealth nations, honoring his decades of global advocacy. Under William and Catherine, the monarchy is already showing signs of change. They're the millennial monarchy, as People magazine called it, blends tradition and modernity. They've vowed to slim down operations, cut excess, and focus on causes that matter to ordinary people: mental health, the environment, early childhood development. William plans to expand his Earthshot Prize, while Catherine leads initiatives supporting families and children. Their vision, a relatable, human monarchy that reflects the lives of those it serves. Catherine's role as queen has brought a warmer, more authentic tone to the palace. She draws comparisons to both Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana, her subtle modern touches and relatable demeanor redefining what it means to wear the crown. The couple's hands-on style promises a more open, engaged royal family. Even George, Charlotte, and Louis are expected to have more flexible futures, blending royal duties with personal passions, maybe even careers in conservation or diplomacy. According to whispers from inside the palace, it won't be easy. Public scrutiny, economic uncertainty, and family fractures will test them. But as one palace insider said, their bond is unbreakable. They'll weather this, together. The crown endures, and now shines brighter than ever. William and Catherine's story is just beginning. So, what do you think about this historic moment? Can William and Catherine lead the monarchy into a New era? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. If you were moved by this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories and royal updates. And tap the bell so you never miss what happens next in the House of Windsor.